My 17F manager had me leave the new girl waiting tables on her own, so I took her at her word. I, 17F, am a waitress, server, cashier at a semi-local Italian chain. Not going to say which, but it's considered a specialty of the DMV area. I recently had to take a month off of work for health reasons, since I was in the emergency room and then had to spend time in inpatient. While I was away, there were huge changes at my job, including new managers and 2 new employees. I've only been working there since last June, but I picked things up pretty quickly. Barring the first day I had to deal with a packed dining room by myself while still in training. I'd messed up pretty badly with the computer system and needed the manager's help. Still, it happens. Yesterday, I met the new girl for the first time. It was her 3rd day. Still in training. She's my age and a complete sweetheart. And as the dining room slowly became more and more packed, we made a great team. She got to practice working with the computers and talking to customers while I took down the orders and showed her how everything worked. It was her first time properly serving there, and she really did great considering that. Certainly at first, the other 2 people who were working was a manager and 1 other hourly employee. The managers at my job will also serve and work the counters. Basically, all waitresses have to do double the work. And we still get paid dirt, but that's another story. I was running between the dining room and the counters to try to keep up. Although we can only serve max 2 people at the counters, picking up or placing orders at a time. It was to the point where my manager and her friend had bundled up and complained about how cold it was. While I was flushed, with my coat off, covered in sweat, cleaned myself up when dealing with the food. Of course, the manager and her friend were sitting down together, alternating between scrolling on their phones and talking, only getting up to answer the phones when they'd already rung 5+ times and having people wait at the counters to be helped for 10+ minutes. It was massively irritating, but I didn't have the energy to confront them. Well, about halfway through my shift, my manager told me that I can't just go in between the dining room and the counter. And if I didn't pick one or the other, she'd withhold my tips for both, since I wasn't fully invested in either. Ouch. She gave me a choice on paper, but in reality made it perfectly clear that I was stuck behind the counter and the new girl, the trainee, was on her own. There was nothing I could really do, so I just stayed at the counter. Though that was plenty slammed in and of itself. And I really could have used my 2 coworkers who were screwing around on their phones. I didn't have time to answer phone calls, pack up orders, check people out, and take to-go orders all at once. And I had one particularly angry woman call me a lazy bitch for leaving her on hold for about 2 minutes. That stuck with me. While I was doing all this, the new girl was stuck with a packed dining room and no help. About 20 minutes into it, my manager approaches me looking both angry and sheepish. Basically, the trainee had messed up and charged the wrong orders to the wrong cards and needed help though. The way she phrased this was, "You know, you don't have to stay by the counter the whole time." That's not what I meant. I looked over and could see her friend on her phone still. And the manager herself still had AirPods on and a show playing on her own phone screen. I responded in my sweetest, most respectful voice. "I'm sorry, but as we only get paid $10 per hour, my tips are too vital for me to forfeit them. So I'm going to stay put." Context: minimum wage is $15.65 where I live. She was floored and instead of helping either of us herself, waddled back to her seat and resumed her show. Of course, I ended up checking in with the trainee and asked if she needed my help, and if the mistake was sorted out. She said that she had things back under control and a lot of the people dining in were headed out. Which was great because the counter was still slammed. The kicker? This morning apparently a customer called in and complained that the blonde girl, me, and the girl with braids, trainee, were so busy that they were sweating, while the two other women, manager and her buddy, were sitting on their phones. I only wish I saw her face when she heard about the complaint. TLD, her manager told me to leave the new girl floundering because she and her buddy were busy on their phones. So I took her seriously and literally, even when she tried to take back what I said because there was a big mistake. I'm so glad a customer called in and said something about their laziness. Report this higher up the chain. You know, having a friend call in with legit complaints isn't a bad idea. And if you have video camera, it can be even better. I'm sorry, but as we only get paid $10 per hour, my tips are too vital for me to forfeit them. So I'm going to stay put. Context. Minimum wage is $15.65 where I live. Can someone explain to me why this is legal? Isn't the minimum wage supposed to be, you know, the minimum wage? And the tipping culture in the USA needs some serious work. Employers should give their employers good enough of a wage that they can live off it, and not have to rely on tips. Emo tips should be for exceptional service, where people go above and beyond, not a way for corpos to avoid paying the staff like it is now. Do you live in America? Because that's illegal and there's people paid by the state that can take this up. Ah yes, the good old Department of Motor Vehicles area. I hate cell phone use by employees during working hours. But what about an emergency? Like really, you have 147 emergencies a day? That's funny because all I ever see you do is scroll social media, online shopping, text your friends, streaming TV, basically wasting time when you should be doing your job, but your addiction to your screen comes first and let your coworkers have the added workload. Nice customer. I'm just curious what area is so cursed by multiple Department of Motor Vehicle offices that it's called the DMV area. I can't imagine anything ever gets done there. It's 100% illegal for them to withhold tips, and next time, get it in writing if you can. But if they are, call your local labor board. Wow, frick em. Restaurant managers are the worst. I'm 5'11" and my coworker was maybe 5 feet in heels. Anyways, we had deep cleaning side work this particular day. I switched with my coworker because mine was to clean the top and underside of the bottom shelves, and hers was to clean the top and underside of the very top shelves. We told a different manager and she said it was fine. By the way, she would have needed a ladder and my back would have been killing me. Anyways, we got yelled at for switching by a different manager. I looked at him and said it wasn't my fault. He didn't know how to logically utilize his employees to everyone's advantage. I'm pretty sure he had to think about that one because he stared blankly at me for a minute and walked away. I'm not from DMV, I'm an Eastern Shore MD girl, but I am so curious what the chain is. Please report back if they get fired. I'm sure that we have many problems like this too, but I see a lot of US stories passing by. My God, they will do anything not top pay people the right wage they deserve. It's mind-blowing most of the times. Seeing a lot of stories about people working 2 or even more jobs just to be able to pay their bills. I hope that the official organizations will deal with the issues that you and your colleagues are encountering. Good luck. Fantastic, but can you confirm if we're talking Lidos here? I don't know where you work, but restaurants by me are always looking for more staff, so jobs are easily changed. Since your managers are lazy buttholes, you should start a job search. You probably can't do worse than you do now. Though make sure they do enough business to match your current place, or you might lose out on tips. Good on that customer. A good reminder that we can help out employees too by making those kinds of complaints. If I didn't pick one or the other, she'd withhold my tips for both, since I wasn't fully invested in either. This manager is a lawsuit waiting to happen. Lado's Pizza?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.